Yo, buddies. Welcome to another episode of the Stoner Budeez Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Bean.
And we're both cooked as hell. Today, we're going to be talking about some ancient shit. Welcome to
North American Archaeology.
Although it has really nothing to do with archaeology.
Absolutely, pretty much nothing.
The only thing we can come up with last minute, so deal with it. North American
Archaeology. It is what it is.
This is what you get from a couple of stoners. So, as I said, we're going to be talking about some ancient sites, I guess, because we talk about this kind of stuff all the time, right? All the time.
Hold on.
Right.
I'm going to stop you there because, buddies, you know what time it is. We have to do it every single time. It's fucking strain of the day.
All right, strain of the day. We got a couple things today. We're not too heavy. Usually we've got like 4 or 5 things going on.
Buddies, we have two,
which is like the least amount of strains we've had for strain of the day. So today we've got some strawberry haze. That's an strawberry OG by Haze. That's a live resin batter. This guy was pretty good. This was more
smelled amazing, buddies. Yeah, holy shit!
I was gonna say it had a lot of limonene, so it probably smelled more like citrus.
Yeah, very, very citrusy.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when you first showed it to me, you said it was super lemon haze.
Right.
And I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, right on.
And I'm like, wait, because it's just such a lemony smell that I automatically associate. The fact that it's a sativa too, that's also another factor. So that's a nice sativa hybrid. Live resin batter by Haze. That's very nice. So we have that in the whatever the fuck things that.
Well, we put that on a bowl.
We did
each. Yeah. Buddies, if I sound a little funny, just coming back from a cold. But we smoked that on a bowl, and man, just utterly obliterated. Buddies, let me rewind that a little bit. Our second strain of the day was Mother's Milk by Suma.
Oh, right.
Man, that was fantastic. The bud structure was super good on that. I was really impressed, and it smelled really, really good, and it smoked phenomenally. Wow.
It's been a while since we've had Suma as a strain of the day. I know maybe about a year ago. That's kind of when we started discovering the change in Suma. This stuff was pretty good. Mother's Milk usually tests pretty good. More of an indica, I would say. Myrcene, yep, that's the big one, but that's only at 3 milligrams. So not anything over 5 to 6 milligrams per gram is when you start to really feel the myrcene, like heaviness.
You want to go nights, buddies.
Mm-hmm. But that stuff is pretty mild. I mean, it's a nice mild indica hybrid, maybe.
Good smoke.
Oh yeah.
It has me like locked in, buddies.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had a bad run-in with Suma, maybe like Brian said about 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we kind of strayed away.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, well, we're gonna try this. It was gifted to me by their head grower. Sorry, brother, I totally forgot your name. I was kind of out of it. I was really, really stoned. My apologies. But he blessed me.
You told me his name earlier, too.
I did? Yeah. Fuck, buddies.
That's on my wait. What was
my
his
bad.
Name? It's a stoner's kind of.
But fantastic dude, by the way. Brother, you're amazing, and thank you. But the flower was fucking top notch.
Yeah, absolutely. Mother's Milk was fantastic. I was definitely getting some Mother's milky ass clouds out of that thing.
Milky clouds.
If you guys have that Patreon Plus, you'll see, or even the Patreon, just the regular Patreon,
buddies,
you'll see the clouds.
Go check out the Patreon. Buddies, when you subscribe to be a Patreon supporter, you are literally supporting the podcast.
Yep.
Every little bit to us counts. It really 100%. Does. It goes a long way, buddies.
Yeah. So, thanks to both of those, Haze and Suma, for the amazing strains. Oh, the pivot. Now I remember. It's that fucking Puffco pivot. The pivot, I've got a gram sitting in there. Not a gram, Jesus Christ. A little dabski waiting in there. And then I had that one little dab on top of the bowl, which most of that bowl is still sitting there waiting to be hit. That shit just got me, dude. As soon as I hit it, it's like, whoo, goddamn. Yeah. So, thank you, Strains of the Day. Let's get this motherfucking show on the road. So, right off the bat, we do talk about a lot of different archaeological sites, ancient sites, Neolithic sites, monolithic sites, just all kinds of fucking, you know what I mean? Every fucking thing. and they all seem to be across the pond, across the oceans and shit, just in different worlds seemingly, not realizing how much shit there is in North America alone, dude.
I'll be honest, buddies. First of all, I don't mean to sound ignorant when I say this, but I honestly had no thought into like how much history is in like North America, in particularly even the United States.
Yep.
Even parts of South America, huge archaeological sites and huge amounts of history. We're taught to believe that the Native American people, when like Columbus or the Europeans showed up, they were primitive and they were fucking savages and they had no technology.
Hell no,
but
dude.
given their circumstances and how long they probably were here before the Europeans came over, it's just mind-blowing. And buddies, listen, some people might think this is like woke nonsense bullshit.
Whoa, no.
But buddies, it's true. These people thrived here. They had huge trade routes. They had huge settlements. It's really mind blowing, and I'm really glad that that Brian sent me a link to Chaco Canyon, and I was like,
that's
holy
kind of how
shit.
what snowballed the whole thing. It's just started from there, and then it's like, what the fuck? Because you look at Chaco Canyon, and that was my first like, holy fuck, that's in New Mexico. We're in fucking Nevada. That's less than a day's drive. So I'm like, that close to something so fucking historical, and here we are in and ooh.
But it was 100% an
Africa
aha moment for me when I started to like really delve into like Chaco Canyon. I was like, wow, like it was like a veil was lifted.
Mm-hmm. There was another, I think there's Mesa Canyon in Arizona too, where it's like a city carved into like a stone cove.
Yes.
You right?
Yes.
It's just insane that the things that these savages were doing, it's like stuff that we today can't figure out how to do.
It's real interesting because I've always been aware of like the cities carved into the wall in like New Mexico, Arizona,
Israel. There's the one, that huge
crazy
temple in Israel too that's carved right into the mountain.
Oh, that's Jordan, Petra.
Jordan.
Yeah,
my
that's
bad.
in Jordan.
So it's things like that. It's like from thousands of years ago, had technology that we today don't have and don't know how to acquire. It's like, what?
We simply don't know or understand how they did it. It's just real crazy. Mm-hmm. And later on in the episode, I have a pretty good comparison in some of these Neolithic sites. Buddies, we'll have to show a video, and but very similar to Machu Picchu, like stone structure. I was kind of like,
what?
wow.
Yeah, there's things that I found that were like nicknamed America's Stonehenge, or America's what's the other big one? God damn, we were just talking about that.
Göbekli Tepe?
No. Man, just gone with the wind.
The Nazca Lines.
Nazca Lines, yeah. So things like that. If you know those sites in Chile and where's the Easter Island? No, where's the
Nazca Lines, I believe.
Stonehenge.
Oh, England.
England. So it's like, what those look like. They're giant sites. They're monolithic sites, and to have something here in the States considered that version of America is just crazy. I'm like super interested to do even like a fucking road trip, just right in the Southwest area,
Buddies, Chaco Canyon is actually a World Heritage Site. It's preserved. You can actually go and view it and walk around and check it out.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty cool. We're gonna actually show you guys a little something in a minute.
Nice. So yeah, Chaco Canyon was my big first one. I was like, holy shit, Chaco Canyon. And that's when I'm like, dude, look at this shit right here. We started looking at that and some of the other sites, and we're like, there's no way we can't do something like this. This is like literally up our alley. It's just the only difference is now we're domestic. This is us. This is where we live, versus looking at other countries and other continents. This is 10 hours away tops. So did you want to watch that?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and watch that.
Cool. This is from the New Mexico website. This is the Chaco Canyon and the Aztec ruins in that area.
Known to many as Chaco Canyon, is located just under 3 hours northwest of Albuquerque off US 550 and Road 7900. In this remote canyon away from much of today's civilization,
New Mexico is absolutely beautiful, buddies.
That's fucking Red Dead Redemption.
Short growing seasons and
Real
long,
life.
harsh winters. It's somewhat surprising that this site in the San Juan Basin served as a hub for people over 1,000 years ago. Yet the
Whoa.
grand scope and style of architecture is undeniable. Chaco was a centerpiece of culture and economic activity in its day, surviving here more than 300 years. The stone structures of Chaco were unlike anything built prior, and the hundreds of rooms and multiple kivas reaching 4 or 5 stories high are evidence of an extremely advanced and sophisticated society.
The accuracy of their
In the construction,
is
Right,
wild.
dude, those
Chacoan people
edges are
reference
like
solar,
sharp edges.
lunar, and cardinal directions, paralleling celestial alignments. And many buildings were placed within line of sight for the purpose of communication. Every element was engineered with the utmost precision. Not to mention, the mere placement of the site is among sacred mountains, mesas, and shrines for the Pueblo people. For all of these reasons and more, the energy field of Chaco is powerful. There is definitely an inherent mystical and magical
Dude, look at
quality to
that.
be experienced here.
Dude, you see what I mean? Look at those perfect
Wandering
straight
through the narrow
lines.
passageways and crouching through the low doorways before entering into the expansiveness of the great rooms is something that needs to be experienced firsthand.
Wow.
It's very, very impressive.
I wonder if because the people were
The solidity
of
of these
that
time-tested
size, or if
structures
it was.
and the pristine
I actually have a
stonework
theory
is
for
worthy of
that.
our admiration, while the textures revealed through the layers of rock, along with the depth of multiple rooms and doorways, makes for a photographer's paradise. The permanence of these structures draws a stark contrast to their initial use. General consensus is the ancient Puebloans did not inhabit these rooms year-round, but instead came here periodically for public gatherings, trade, and ceremonies, returning later to their permanent homes elsewhere. That said, the emphasis on Chaco's use for ritual and ceremonial purposes is growing, and the sheer numbers of kivas on the premises supports this theory.
I have to say it's very humbling to think that I'm standing in the same place that a human did over 1,500 years ago, and using this ceremonial space, the kiva, for their traditions and their ceremonies every year.
The stuff in the
And the
background
fact
is
that
crazy.
we're standing here
Just
and
beautiful.
it's so
Look at
well
that shit.
Absolutely
preserved.
beautiful, buddies.
It's really
That stuff
astounding.
way in the back.
In looking over the expansiveness of the ruins within this canyon, I find it even more remarkable Chaco was merely the center of a larger network of pueblos spreading throughout the Four Corners region, with outlier communities and great houses of Chacoan culture reaching all the way into Arizona, Colorado, and Utah, most notably Mesa Verde. Perhaps
Mesa
lesser
Verde.
known, but also impressive, are the Aztec ruins, located along the Animas River in the city of Aztec. Its very name reveals the mistaken notion by white settlers that the ruins were Aztec in origin, versus their rightful identity relating to the ancestral Pueblo peoples. And today, there is no room for doubt of the Chacoan influence on this site. The ruins are comprised of multi-story great houses as well as smaller pueblos and a great kiva, which was reconstructed in 1934 under the direction of Earl H. Morris of New York City's American Museum of Natural History. The West Ruin once had more than 500 rooms centered on an open plaza.
Wow,
Many
that's
of
a
which
lot of
still have
fucking
the
rooms,
original
buddies.
wooden roofs. Walking through these rooms with their roofs intact is an experience I have not had elsewhere. Proof that along the trail of the ancients connecting these sites, each location offers a new perspective and a unique experience, altogether impressing upon me the power and magnitude of this part of our state's culture. For those of you more adventuresome and willing to go off the
Very, very interesting. What was your theory on the doorways being so small? Do you think it has something to do with prayer or like greeting as they're walking in? You know, they come in bowed down, sort of.
Here's my thoughts on that. One, I believe they did that to bring themselves down, because you have to think, one, it was mentioned several times that it was a place for like ceremonies and what have you. And if you kind of like look at some of the architecture, you have to be like, wow, were they on psychedelics? And I think they were.
Oh,
so I believe
100%.
it's how they kind of entered their spiritual
Their space.
their realm. It kind
realm,
of shows
right.
like a humbleness, because like when
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was
when
thinking
like
when I
martial
said,
arts
they gotta bow
practitioners,
down.
they bow down before they enter their dojos.
That's
Buddies, if you know about this, let us know. Even let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Like, tell us what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, that was super interesting. I'd seen pictures of it, and like I said, from there was a program on Netflix I was watching, Ancient America, I think it was. Or
Was it
Ancient
the
something.
Ancient Apocalypse?
Apocalypse?
The Americas?
Yes.
See, I believe there was also an incident during filming involving Chaco Canyon, if I'm not mistaken, and it actually caused their the filming to halt. I forget what it was.
Oh.
But I think there's also a huge misnomer between Chaco Canyon and like the native people. It's led to believe we're led on to believe that the Navajo actually like built that and did that, but they didn't. It was the Chacoan people.
Yeah, you could
they
see the
even
influence.
had like in the video they mentioned like the Aztec runes, and that's verified that there was actually Aztec influence because of their trade routes.
The Chaco influence?
Yeah, the Chacoans traded goods over long distances, acquiring items such as turquoise shells, macaw feathers, and copper bells. Now, here's the thing that we know, buddies, that they have these trade routes that reach down to like the Aztecs, because the only place that they can get those feathers was from South America.
Dude, I was looking around like just now when you said that. It took about a second though, and then I did realize you said macaw feathers, and I'm like, macaw feathers, cool. And then I'm like,
Parrots,
macaw.
buddies, parrots.
I'm like, those are the big, colorful red parrots.
Yep.
The pirate parrots.
Yep.
And I'm like, in the desert? So, and that's what I was thinking just as you said that. So I'm like, dude, they must be rare commodity for them.
In the video, they also mentioned that the Chacoan site was not lived in year round, and that's true because the Chacoan Valley, I'm just going to call it that, buddies. Correct me down in the comments, send me an email, stonerbudeez@gmail.com if I'm wrong, but the Chacoan Canyon is like the worst place to live. It gets very little rainfall. The soil is absolutely fucked, so supporting like a huge population of over like 20,000 based upon the room size and like family sizes, whatever they believed, it just wasn't possible. So it was only populated up to like maybe 1,000 people, if that. But when all the people would come and do the work and have their ceremonies, they would import everything. Everything had to be imported, including water, which is real interesting because in other Chacoan sites, they actually are masters of building like irrigation, like canals.
Oh, yeah. I've seen, especially with all these new discoveries, you mentioned it too, in all the stuff that they're discovering in South America recently with the LiDAR and the drones.
It's fucking mind-blowing.
You could see not only the cities, but you could see waterways carved out going from the cities down to either rivers or other little miniature towns or villages, and it's like, holy shit, these people had it down for their time. And you know, like you said, that misconception is that they were savages and miseducated or not educated.
They were cutting people open, buddies, and taking their organs.
We literally got so much from these people. The mathematics is crazy.
The calendar system from the Mayans, the Mayans.
Yeah, it's insane, and we keep regarding them as these lower people, but for all we know, man, they were guided by the higher
buddies.
ones.
Listen, they drew what they seen.
Very true.
Buddies, there's no way they knew. Like, it's just mind-blowing. They understood the stars. They had a higher level of sophistication than we did. It was just on a totally different level.
Yeah, we kind of try to develop like a book smart mentality. Like we know everything because it's written in our books. It's like, well, they came back with, well, we know everything because the higher ones taught us, and this is from the skies, and we've learned this because they taught us. So it's like, you know, I can see why they would be looked at as and savages, especially when they, they practice things like that. But what if it's true, man? Why would the whole civilization, not only one, but why would all these other civilizations draw very similar things in completely different continents around the same time when there was no letters, there was no mail system, there was no telephones? How they weren't communicating with each other?
It's fucking crazy, but they did. They had communication, and
Exactly.
I kind of say this tongue in cheek because during some of my digging, I came across the Sage Wall, buddies. If you haven't heard of the Sage Wall, you should go and check that out. We'll watch a video on it in a minute.
So
But,
where's the Sage Wall? What
It's in Montana.
Okay.
There hasn't been like a huge level of archaeological explanation for it.
They don't know. Yeah, they can't explain.
They're
it.
not sure. I don't know, like if mainstream archaeology wants to get involved because it'll once again set back their narrative. But what really kind of put me into it was the similarity in the stone structure to Machu Picchu.
Really?
The similarity of it is fucking crazy, buddies. I don't think we've done an episode of Machu Picchu.
No, man, not an episode alone. We've kind of mentioned it along with like the site in Bolivia too, with the H blocks.
Yes.
We haven't done an episode. We've mentioned all these sites, but never dedicated episodes.
Well, listen, buddies, we're gonna have to come at you guys with a dedicated
Ooh,
episode
man.
of like Machu Picchu in South America. We did North America right now, so we might as well do it. So if you buddies want it, let us know down in the comments. Leave a comment, buddies. It helps us. It lets us know that you guys
100%.
are listening and you guys are engaged. But yeah, buddies, we're gonna have to do that. That's coming at you guys.
Yeah. So this Sage Wall in Montana. This sounds. When I saw pictures of it, and maybe I saw something else, or I was looking at just pictures and not video, and I should have looked at video, but this sounds pretty fucking cool. Prehistoric mega structure. Oh, this is the drone video. All right.
It's very, very interesting to look at. For one, you have to also wonder is why is it there? What else is there?
What was the purpose, right?
Shout out to Wandering Wolf Productions. Thanks for
Hey.
letting us use your video. But if you look, the stones they're like precise. They look precisely cut to me. They fit perfectly in place. They just don't look natural.
They don't. You know what that reminds me of? And we've talked about this on the show too. What if there were giants? This looks like Legos for a giant.
100%.
So I'm like, what? I mean, look at this shit. That's not natural, dude. Those were 100% placed. Look at that.
Very, very interesting. A lot of this was actually, from doing a little bit of digging, a lot of this was actually like there were trees and there was a lot of dirt, and they've actually kind of like cleared some of the stuff away.
Do you think that was used for? No, but it doesn't even go that far. How long is that?
I'm not sure.
That looks maybe 200
Buddies,
feet.
if you guys know about the Sage Wall, let us know down below.
You think that's just maybe like a natural archaeological? What? No, I mean, damn. The thing is like the layers of stone. They all have. It looks like the same length, same height, and they're stacked. Right, 2 large stones, and each one of them has a small stone sitting on top of it, a smaller
Yes.
stone.
Yes.
So is that naturally coincidental?
There's
I don't know, man.
there's places, I believe it's in Arizona, not Arizona, where the Grand Canyon is. Yeah, the Grand
Yep.
Canyon's in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Where it looks like there are perfectly cut cubes. They could almost be building a pyramid.
Whoa.
I'm not. Well, they could be used in like a pyramid construction, but they're literally perfectly fucking cut, buddies. I'll have to put that in over here or something.
Whoa.
But it's just mind blowing. There's a whole argument for that too.
Whoa, that's crazy. So that's your the Sage Wall. That's in Montana. So that's also, it's not very far. Montana's just a little bit north of here.
I mean, if you want to talk about like prehistoric, like native sites, we could even consider the Valley of Fire here It's
That's
about
45 minutes away
45
from
minutes
here,
from Las Vegas. Yeah.
Wow.
The Valley
And-
of Fire is fucking beautiful, buddies. We'll have to do a little field trip out there at some point.
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna be bringing you guys an episode from Valley of Fire. It's gonna be amazing. Just sitting in that area with all these sites would be fantastic. You know, sitting out there with your bowl in hand, enjoying nature. You know, one of the other things too we mentioned earlier was the America's Stonehenge. That's in Salem, New Hampshire. That one is basically it's a complex of ancient rock structures and caves, and these date back to like maybe the 17th century is what I remember. So that's another native site, but it's like they think that it had been vandalized recently, so you know, things like that especially, man, we need to preserve. And you know, it had no resemblance to the Stonehenge in England, but just the structures and the way everything was placed out there was a trip.
North America is actually like hugely rich in prehistoric sites, information. We just have to go and look for it. We have to be open-minded. Like I said before, buddies, I had always known about like the Native Americans, but I'd never had any idea of like how advanced they really were, because it was just always meant to. You were just always meant to believe that they were savages. They're gonna fucking murder you brutally, which unfortunately is true. That they had a way with violence. But to be fair, buddies, so did the Europeans. Even the prehistoric man, they all were brutally violent, because that's how you had to be to survive back then.
Yeah.
We live in a very nice time. I would say this is like the golden age of humanity, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being a white European, either coming from Spain or England, coming to the new land, finding other humans that are not white like you, who are completely different people. You know, it's like it would seem threatening at first. I get it, but
And they lived very, very differently from the Europeans.
very, like, completely.
The Europeans were going around sipping tea and navigating, so they're like, "Fuck yeah, man! We've already murdered people for God. We have religion. We have God on our side."
That's crazy, man.
The only
Really?
thing they had on their side was violence and germs.
No, but it's crazy how you just mentioned that. It's like people, when they think of natives, they think really just in the recent history with, you know, the tribes and all that. But man, think back 1,000, maybe 2,000, maybe 3,000 years before them. What could there have been? I know they didn't. We know that they didn't build all these structures. We didn't know that they built like stuff like the one in Aztec. That was Arizona.
Aztec, Arizona.
Was that where the Aztec
Chacoan
influence was?
Yes.
So it just goes to show you, I mean, there could have been so much more deeper history than we know or even think of.
The problem is we don't understand a lot about Native American or just Native history, is because unfortunately we fucking killed them all, and all of their records were oral. I believe one of the only, I guess, Native people that had like a written language was the Easter Island people. This is kind of slightly off topic, buddies, but the Easter Island people actually had a written text that only their elders knew how to read. But unfortunately, due to the slave trade,
Damn.
they essentially killed everyone off. But they have this entire text that tells where the Moai came from, how they built them, just huge amounts of information. But since we killed those people off and sold them to slavery and bastardized their language, that's lost. And then the same thing kind of applies for the Native American people here. We put them in schools. They were taught not to speak their language. You have to speak fucking the king's tongue. But that's been lost due to this, once again, God complex superiority issue. Whatever you want to call it, buddies.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Did you pull something up, or can I talk about something else?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to bring up, since we brought up America's Stonehenge, we also mentioned America's Nazca Lines.
Oh, yes.
So if you guys know the Nazca Lines,
Buddies.
right?
Wow.
The Nazca Lines are in Peru. I said Chile, I think, yeah, first time.
Yeah. Peru.
But they're in Peru. These are giant geoglyphs drawn into the land that if you're driving past it, you won't even notice it. You literally have to be flying over most of these geoglyphs to really notice what the designs are. Okay, and this is in Peru, like I said. These have been around for thousands of years. Well, what I found out with my research, and I know you came across it too, Bean, was the Blythe, quote unquote, I guess you could say, Nazca Lines, right? So these are in Blythe, California. They're called the Blythe Intaglios. Yeah. So these guys are. I mean, look at this. This is a geoglyph. If you guys can see that on the screen, I mean, these are literally drawn into the land geoglyphs that you won't notice are there until you're flying above, or just have to be standing, very high up on a fucking ladder.
My question is why? Why did they do that? It's just, and how did they do it? Oh yeah,
dude, look, this one has a penis going on.
I also want to say that there are all more of these throughout the United States. I want to say I found some, maybe it was in Georgia. I forget where. Buddies, if you guys know, send us an email, stonerbudeez@gmail.com, and let us know if you know of any more of these. What did you call them? Not petroglyphs.
Geoglyphs?
Geoglyphs, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Their researchers believe that this was done by the local Mojave. But what they can't understand is how the Mojave would have seen them from the intended aerial view to be able to draw them.
Right.
So it's like, were they flying? I mean, this means that look, I mean, come on. Dude, this is insane. You can't explain that kind of stuff.
There's so many. But yeah, I believe it was in Georgia. I'm kind of saying this tongue-in-cheek, buddies. I don't remember. But they actually built a tower that they believe was there before us to view what they were doing. But in like California, where the Mojave built their geoglyphs, there's no signs of any towers. So how did they know? Why did they do that? Were they signaling to the aliens, buddies?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I would love to visit one of these geoglyphs and be able to fly over it. Just flying over a geoglyph, maybe from one city to another, would be cool. Like purposely booking a flight, knowing that it's going to fly over.
That would be cool.
Amazing.
That would be super cool.
Sorry, I got distracted by Beans just jamming here. I was like, hell yeah.
Buddies, it's a fucking vibe.
Have you seen Snake Mound?
Yes, that's another geoglyph that I came across. Where was that located at?
That's in Ohio.
Yeah, so those other geoglyphs are probably in Ohio, buddies.
This fucking thing is literally, it's groundwork. It's not a geoglyph, but it looks like a fucking snake mound, 1,300 feet long,
It's
snaking.
Huge. It's huge, buddies.
Through a fucking park.
It's huge.
And they can't explain where it came from. This is
There's also sites like that in Europe. Buddies, I seriously believe that all of these ancient things that we're finding came from knowledge from an even older race of people.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck what Graham Hancock has to say. Fuck what all these other mainstream dudes, these people who are just trying to get famous for all of this shit they're coming up with because they want to profit. That's why they're doing this, buddies. Buddies, just be free thinkers. Just think for yourself. But I really believe that everything came from one source at one point in time, and then there was some sort of catastrophe, and it got split down, and just as man does, they perverted it and they twisted it for their own needs. But I will tell you this one thing, buddies: the Stoner Budeez Podcast will not manipulate things for our own means.
Oh man. So real quick, just on that snake mound, if you guys looked that up, right? I said that was in Ohio, right? That's Hillsboro, Ohio. They believe the purpose could have been a vast tomb, which, if that's the case, where the hell is the door? Or for some kind of astronomical purpose, which is unknown. But it's like, yeah, if you look at this from the air, you can kind of see like a snake literally going through 1,300 feet in a park. It looks like it's just like this, but he's snaking around, right? So that's in Ohio, and that's something cool. I've seen that one around for a few years now, which is very interesting. Something really recent, I would say, a recent discovery. Oh, here, yeah, we're gonna pull some images up here.
So here's like the ground view, Serpent Mound.
What did I say? Snake Mound.
Yeah, Snake Mound. Close enough.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. So look,
So
this
you
is
can
what.
kind of see it, buddies. Woo. It's crazy.
Yep. And that's just Earth.
Oops.
It's not a tunnel or it's Earth. Like if you dig it up, you're gonna go dig right through the dirt.
Here's
And then it snakes around towards the end of it.
oh, here we go. Here's a fantastic photo of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's the snake around right there.
I would even say, yeah, that's a head.
Mm-hmm. And maybe the rattle back, or yeah. Adams County, Ohio, around 900 years ago.
Buddies, if you guys are listening from Adams County, Ohio, and you know about this, let us know. We'll send you some
nice.
stickers.
Check that out. So it says it represents a giant snake, right? Possibly holding an egg in its jaws. So that's the egg at the end of it, holding it in his jaws. That's the end of the tail over there on that side.
What if it's a wormhole?
Ooh. Wow. What I was saying is one of the more recent discoveries was in Miami, Florida. 1998. They were knocking down this apartment complex, right? They just knocked it all down. Under all that shit, under the foundation, they discovered this, it's like a circular pattern of like holes and limestone bedrock. They call that one the Miami Circle. If you want to look that up, yeah. So they're looking at it, and they're like, "What the hell is this?" They think it was used by the once used Tequesta. Those are the local people there, the once local people, Tequesta people. They radiocarbon tested the site, and it's about 3,000 years old. Go back up. It's that sucker right there. Yep.
Very crazy.
Yeah, look right there. Go back up to the image real quick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let me see if there's one down here.
Oh, it just talks about Miami, maybe.
Kind of interesting that this is on the BBC.
Because Miami don't give a fuck. Miami Circle is a 2,700-year-old indigenous site that has been called America's Stonehenge. Again, another
Interesting.
Stonehenge.
There are lots and lots of similarities, buddies, between many prehistoric sites like pyramids and circles and petroglyphs and geoglyphs, even Neolithic sites, buddies. There is a shared knowledge that is amongst these people. The question is how did they get that? Did they only get that from trading?
Right.
Because you have to imagine that most of these people probably spoke or communicated in many different ways, because the distances they had to cover on foot is just mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. That one in Miami kind of caught me off guard because I'm like, damn, that's
Yeah, I didn't know about that.
pretty recent. So I'm like, that's insane. There was another think it was White Sands, New Mexico. It's not so much a
where
structure.
they tested the nuclear bomb.
White Sands?
Yep.
Oh, I think that's what it was called. That's where White Sands National Park. So White Sands, New Mexico, there's a site at the national park there where some things had been revealed, right, due to like a drought. So the dirt became really loose, started blowing away, revealed a few things, revealed some human footprints. One.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yep. Just right into the fucking sand.
But he's about to say dinosaurs.
God damn it, God damn it. All right.
Yes.
One.
I fucking knew it. You Jurassic Park loving son of a
Son
bitch.
of a bitch. So, yes, they did discover what looks like woolly mammoth tracks, dire wolf tracks. I'm talking exactly fucking Game of Thrones type dire wolf motherfuckers, like giant fucking tracks this big, dug right into the fucking ground, dude. Just fossilized from. They think it was
mind blowing, buddies.
They think it was like a riverbed, and it was preserved by the mud and all that shit. And then when it finally dried out and the drought and everything, it just revealed everything, and it's just like intact human, animal tracks, wolf tracks. What else did they there was some other shit that I was like, oh.
I've seen some sites like this, not personally, just online, buddies. I'm not a world traveler like that, but they actually had human footprints and like actual legitimate dinosaur footprints side by side. So did man and dinosaurs live side by side? I don't know. I really don't know, buddies. I don't have explanations for this. I don't have a background in paleontology or even archaeology. This is just something that we're interested in.
I wonder if they did live side by side, but away from each other enough to where they wouldn't fuck with each other unless they had to go in and hunt some shit down. But
honestly, it's hard for me to say because I like to, based on everything that I kind of know and everything that I kind of believe, we're meant to believe that man was not evolved enough by then, because you also have to factor in like the asteroid killing the dinosaurs, like if that's what you believe. Buddies, it doesn't really matter. But listen, the dinosaurs are there, they're not. Man was able to thrive and come up. Maybe there were small pockets of people or some sort of person, who knows.
Just real quick before I forget, the other big thing that's discovered with the human tracks was evidence of ground sloth tracks. So I was like, whoa, dude. And that, when I looked at the footage of it, it looked like a fucking giant elephant track. Just
huge.
I was like, oh my God, dude. So that's something I would love to visit at one point, is just go out there and check out these fucking tracks. Can you believe that shit from 3,000-4,000 years ago? Millions, I mean.
Millions of years.
Oh man, I'm stoned as hell.
Me too.
So I mean, there's sites out there that we just absolutely don't know of. There's a giant fucking crater site in Arizona. Did you know about that?
Yeah, it's
Have you been there?
Where a meteor hit.
Yeah, dude.
Crazy.
Amazing fucking site.
Giant, buddies. It's fucking absolutely giant.
It's the size of a city, and you're literally at the rim of this thing, looking down, and it's just like, oh, I can see that little shed down there. You know, it's just like, holy fuck. Really
Crazy,
puts scale into perspective. It's
buddies,
like,
unfortunately, time and time again, we do get hit with some fucking meteors and stuff, and
yep,
they do some serious damage, buddies.
And just seeing the size of that one, right? Not even counting the one that hit in the peninsula of Mexico that wiped out the dinosaurs. Just looking at this one in Arizona, being at the rim of it and looking at you in the size perspective versus this giant fucking crater, dude. Can you imagine?
Let me introduce you buddies to an idea. What if where that meteorite impacted, or the asteroid impacted in Mexico, was where that advanced civilization was?
Oh.
And that explains why there's no trace.
Another thing I thought you were going to say is, what if the DNA for humans came from that meteor? And that's when we just kind of,
Very possible.
you know,
Panspermia, I believe is what that theory is called.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Just seeding another planet with different DNA?
Yeah. We
Oh.
could technically be like a fungus or even a virus.
Can you, fuck, dude, just a thriving little virus and fungus just growing and growing. Shit. That's insane, dude.
Mind blowing.
I mean, you guys definitely can do your own research, and it's just easy. Just looking up ancient North American sites. I came up with all kinds of stuff. Some stuff that I'd seen before. Other stuff a lot recent, like the Miami Circle, which was kind of cool because I didn't even know there was any recent discoveries like that, you know? So it's cool to kind of just brush up on your stuff. I hope you guys were smoking along that whole time because I've been stoned that whole
I
time.
really hope you guys have been smoking
I'm
along
going
this
to
whole
just hit
time.
this real quick.
I just want to thank you, buddies, for tuning in once again and hanging out with us. Hell yeah,
You
buddies.
saw nothing, YouTube. Nothing.
Nothing. But I want to thank all you buddies for tuning in, lighting up, getting stoned with us, and listening to us talk. If you buddies are watching, go check out the Spotify. The Spotify is amazing. It's one of my favorite things to listen to us on. Yeah, buddies, I listen to our own episodes sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, buddies, go check out the YouTube. The YouTube's pretty cool. It's a little different.
Yeah, YouTube's got its own thing. You know, everything evolves, of course, but the Spotify has been our baby since
Love it.
inception. So we give that a lot of attention as well. So definitely check us out at both because there's kind of exclusive things going on both platforms. Excuse me, got that stoner burp coming out. Anyways, buddies, catch some of the new stuff that we have in the stores, right? We have all that Creepy Buddy stuff that's going to last throughout the whole year. So it'll be gone after December, and all the new stuff will be out in January, February, right?
Yep.
Check out Lord of Spore,
Go check out our buddies.
our buddies. And speaking of buddies, use that code BUDEEZ, buddies, and you get 30% off of anything that you get at the store. Patreon.
Buddies,
Check
the
out that Patreon.
is fucking lit, buddies. Wow. Buddies, if you want to see us all get just absolutely fucked up,
Yeah.
go check out the Patreon.
Well, you noticed how I had to hide that hit just a couple minutes ago because, you know, YouTube can be YouTube, and we try not to piss them off because how would you guys watch if we weren't doing our thing, right?
Yeah.
So on the Patreon, you get to watch all of that. You'll really sesh with us because you'll see everything we're doing behind the scenes right before, up until the episode starts, basically, for a few minutes, sometimes up to 30, 40 minutes. It's crazy. We've had long ass
buddies, there's
behind the
some
scenes.
long BTSs out there.
It's like full episodes on the same topic or just even funnier shit. It's great. If you become that extra member, that plus member, you'll get the merch. So check us out. Patreon.com, The Stoner Buddies. You'll get to the page and you can check out your two options. Starting at $4.20.
$4.20, buddies.
$4.20. Anyway, buddies, always you can check us out on Instagram at stoner_buddies. The Patreon, the store, you know where to find us. You know we're doing stuff all year long.
Buddies, we're always getting down on the Instagram.
You got Winter Champs coming up, so you, as always, we'll see us for Winter Champs, you know?
Champs is a blast, buddies.
Yep. Anything else you want to add there, Bean? I think I am good and toasty right now.
Yeah, buddies, I'm pretty fucking stoned.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Always thank you for spending your time with us. It's been great getting high as hell with you. And as always, buddies, let's keep it rolling.